You already know the feeling where you walk into a room and you know that the stakes are high. You have the executive board that's listening to you, and you're here giving your report, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, these words are so weighty. What are they going to say in response to what I say? So your heart is pounding, and your palms are sweating, and your mouth is dry. You feel droplets of sweat dripping down your face. And you think, oh my goodness, the pressure is on. And it's probably a presentation you've been working on for weeks and weeks on end because the stakes are so high. And on top of that, you know the stuff in your mind. It's just that when you present it, those nerves get the best of you. You actually find that the presentation is very good when you give it without nerves. But as soon as you do have those nerves, oh my goodness, it's like you're a different person. So what do? That's what this video is all about. And I'm going to give it to you from the auditory perspective and some things you can think about. Now, I'm going to break down stress into three components. This is my analysis of things, okay? When you are stressed, when you're in that high stakes situation, there are three kinds. One is the cognitive stress, one is the emotional stress, and then there's the physiological stress that is happening in your body. Now, let's take them one at a time, starting with the cognitive problem. Your brain is holding a lot of information. And so the first place you want to start, especially when you're going to be in a situation where, because of everything that's going on and the heightened sense of, oh my goodness, I'm under stress, you want to make sure that beforehand you have whittled things down so that you are not overwhelmed with how much your brain needs to remember in that situation. Because when you're stressed, the things that felt organized when you weren't are suddenly super hard to remember, or you're like, what was I going to do? And so in preparation, make sure you have streamlined what you are going to think about when you're in that situation. You do this by compressing your main message. I would say this in many videos, which is boil down your talk to one simple message that can be summarized in 10 words. Bonus points if it is easy to say and it rolls off the tongue, and if it rhymes, even better. If you do that, then it will increase the ease of recall. It will increase the ease of saying it on the spot. It will increase the ease of reminding yourself where you're going. That reduces rambling. It reduces nerves about what you're going to say next because you have this one targeted point that is easy for you to remember and lessens the chances that you're going to go off track. And what that means is that when the pressure starts to hit, you're like, it's okay. I can remember 10 words. My heart is pounding, but I can still remember 10 words. Okay. It will reduce your stress if I don't have 10 bullet points that I need to be remembering and 500 things that I need to be doing. It's just one point that I'm making. Even though I might be exemplifying it in different slides, this is my main point. If there's just one point that I want to remind myself I'm making. Streamline, and it gets rid of the noise and the clutter, which are not helpful when you're under stress. So that's the cognitive stress. The second is the emotional stress. What state are you in when you give your presentation? Now, we talk a lot about what happens when you are giving the actual presentation, but how is that influenced by what you do before? And more specifically, I want to talk about what you listen to before. There is something called auditory priming, and that is where what you listen to before something determines how you feel afterwards. So there's a study done where they played certain music before a mediation conversation. So two people trying to resolve conflict. And what they found is that the music that they played had an effect on how effective the reconciliation or the mediation was afterwards. What that is showing is that music and what you listen to before has an effect on the state that you are in after, your state of mind. And you will know this already. There are songs that you can listen to that put you in a state of, hey, hey. And there are songs that you listen to that put you in a state of, wah, 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 or make you want to crawl into a hole and hibernate because they're so depressing. And that's just through the power of sounds coming and reaching your brain. That's how powerful they are. So, what are the kinds of things that you want to listen to right beforehand in order to change the state that you're in? This is reminding me of when I was younger, watching Serena Williams play tennis, right? And in the interim, she might whip out a piece of paper and she might remind herself of, I don't know what was on there. Maybe it was some affirmations, maybe whatever. But the point is, there was a certain state of mind she was reminding herself of in order to go back and play better, right? And this is the same principle. You are priming yourself for the situation you're about to be in. So be intentional about that. Songs of gratitude, songs of excitement, songs of hope. All of those will affect how you feel going into your presentation. And I'm saying this because most people will leave this entirely to chance, but you will know from experience that these things affect your state. Don't arrive at your presentation having doom scrolled or having just left things to chance. Be intentional. Take the bull by the horns. Most people do not do this. If you spend 30 minutes being intentional about what you are putting in your auditory brain before you give the presentation, you will notice the difference if you are intentional about it. So that's number 2. And number 3 is the physiological component that everybody talks about. So your heart is pounding or your palms are sweating, you have brain freeze, and these are all the physiological responses to stress. Now, I want to give you a tip that involves your ears. And to give you a bit of background, I'm simply going to say this. You are in fight or flight response when you are stressed. Your heart is beating fast. You're like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to me? Right? Your fight or flight response is in large part counteracted by your vagus nerve. This is part of your parasympathetic system. And your vagus nerve is in charge of helping you rest and digest. Now, you'll hear me say this a lot in my videos, but the only place you can access your vagus nerve at skin level is in your ears. So this vagus nerve runs through the back part of your ear canal and it ends up in the bowl of your ears. And so what you're going to do when you're feeling stressed is you can give yourself a massage in the bowl of your ears. You can do this in a circular motion, as you can see like this. It is a physiologically calming effect, okay? Stimulating the vagus nerve brings down your nerves. That vagus nerve sends a message to your body like, okay, I can relax. It's okay. Do it for a minute before you walk in. Just take a breath. Take a deep breath. You can combine this with a breathing exercise. If you Google Wim Hof breathing technique, WIM space HOF breathing technique, that will show you how in 10 minutes you can bring your nerves way down and feel way more relaxed. So we've spoken about cognitive stress, about emotional stress, and physiological stress. And I want to close this video by saying one thing, which most videos that talk about stress won't mention. And that is, at the heart of stress is this idea of, I am under attack. And so how can I protect myself? Right? And that focus then is very much on me, I. And that's normal. However, what I want to offer as a suggestion is if you shift that focus from I am under attack to how can I best serve the people in front of me, I would like you to consider that naturally reduces that anxiety. And now your focus is simply on, I want to do the best I can for my audience. How can what I am saying or what I know help the people in front of me? When there is that reframe and that shift, it is astounding how much of the pressure goes down because your focus is inherently not on you anymore. It is about doing right by them. And if you make that your main job, your only focus, your one task, then then the problem often takes care of itself. You recognize that, oh, I have something valuable to share, and I will make that my aim to share it with the audience such that they have something to leave with and that they have spent their time well by spending it with me. And when that is your focus, you will genuinely always do better than when the focus is on yourself. So the next time you have your high stakes presentation, let's do three things. Number one, what is your 10 words? What are your 10 words that encapsulate your message? Number two, for your emotional, what is your auditory priming? How are you intentionally affecting your state before you go into that high pressure situation? And then thirdly, let your vagus nerve do its work simply by stimulating it using this part of your ear. It's called the concha. You can YouTube some videos about how to stimulate your vagus nerve through that action. But then overarching, ask yourself, how can I best serve my audience through this presentation? Yes, the stakes are high. Yes, this report determines X, Y, or Z for the next quarter. Yes, all of those things. But ultimately, how can I best serve the people in front of me? Because if you make that your aim, I guarantee that you will do better than if you make, I need to preserve myself and I need to look like a hero and I need to look like I'm so competent. You will do better in this scenario than in this one. And so keep that front and center and watch the stress go down and the confidence arise. If this is the kind of content that you're into, then feel free to subscribe to this channel and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.